Sound check, testing.
I'll give you 1 second.
Well, good evening, everyone. The attendance in person is light, but I know there's some people online, and we'll be streaming this and also saving it so that it can be shared or reviewed later. I'm Jake Langlis. I'm the superintendent at Lewiston Public Schools, and tonight we're going to do a walkthrough of the budget newsletter that we have shared in numerous ways. This is the third of 3 town hall meetings that we've done spread out over time this late winter, early spring, to discuss the school budget process, question and answer sessions on schools in general. We've also been to a couple of different community sites, and we've been hosted at a couple of different meetings on Zoom with community partners over the last 4 or 5 months just to talk schools and budget. I think after last year, when we had 3 votes to get a budget passed, we were trying to be very intentional with how we set up the budget this year in response to community messaging. So without further ado, I will share the budget newsletter. This is information that has been shared out very widespread, but I do want to hit some highlights here. First highlight is tomorrow is the referendum. So if you're watching this now, please make a plan to go vote tomorrow. I'll be there first thing in the morning, and we hope that as many people can get out to vote as possible. A few highlights here. You can see that the school committee approved an increase of 2.15%. It's one of these smaller increases we've seen in multiple years. The city council also voted on that last Tuesday and approved the 2.15% increase on the mill rate. I think that everybody had a pretty common understanding of the work that's been done over the last 6 months with our budget process. School committee reviewed things very thoroughly. The city council reviews these multiple times, dating back to a joint meeting in February, and then again here recently, and then another meeting at the city council last Tuesday. We do want to note that this is a 29-cent increase proposal on the local mill rate. And I believe the city landed around 50 cents and the county was at 23 cents. I might be off a little bit on those because they just made some final decisions here recently. I think it's important to note from a budget perspective that 71% of our total budget is our people. It's the most valuable asset I think that we have. And our people do the work with our kids every day, from keeping them clean to keeping them fed and obviously educated. And so with 71% of the budget, that represents 95% of all the increases requested. We took a significant reduction approach to this year's budget, where anything that was non-personnel was scrutinized line by line. And we removed many things and had to keep other things flat, even though inflation grew a great deal. We are essentially trying to do everything that we can with a little bit less next year. But I think it's a responsible number to bring to the community, and we hope to have it supported at the referendum tomorrow. As a reminder, you can vote at Longley School tomorrow from 7 a.m. till 8 p.m. And the referendum will be open all day for you to vote. So again, we hope that you can get over. This next chart shows just the percentages by article. And I'll leave it up there for a moment, but all these documents can be accessed online, Facebook, Twitter. We've also emailed, texted, sent links, and put it on our webpage. So if you are looking for budget resources or documents, they're all available out there. You can see here the top 2, what we call articles from an accounting perspective, items in Lewiston Public Schools from our budget are Article 1, which is regular instruction, and Article 2, which is special education. Those 2 areas alone make up over 60% of our total budget. And we work hard to make sure that we have the best possible instruction possible. And we have a lot of high need students, and we work very hard to make sure that we are educating them appropriately and to the best of our ability. So you can see those 2 areas are, as a school system, teaching our students directly. The third biggest area at 4.6% is our career technical education programming. And when we say things here in Lewiston, LRTC, including the programs over in Auburn. Those all land as um, underneath our jurisdiction in our budget. Again, just some highlights mentioning that um, the proposed is approved at 29 cents on the local mill rate. And we have a chart here that shows you the specific numbers by area. This table, if you will, is the same as the chart above. It just breaks down things in a table format so you can see it. But we are fortunate to have over $80 million in state subsidy overall, which helps limit the burden here locally. And the local ask is $31.3 million. In addition, this year, from a financial strategy perspective, we continue to work to reduce the amount of fund balance that we use. And fund balance is a term we use for money that we didn't spend in prior years. It's not assigned to anything. And so it's responsible with a organization this size with 10 buildings and all of our schools and the infrastructure to have some money in reserve so that we can operate effectively. And if we have something pop up, we need to make sure we can fix that roof or repair things to make sure that we can function appropriately for students. And we have reduced the amount of fund balance we used from last year by 36.65%. It's a big deal for us in the perspective of if there's no fund balance, you instantly have to ask local taxpayers for those dollars. So this is striking that balance between using what we need to appropriately to limit the local ask, but also not using all of it so that next year we would have to ask for huge amounts. Just some comparisons. Lewiston is hard to compare to other communities because of our size, but the closest ones in size are Portland, which they have about 500 more kids than us, maybe slightly more. But they're under 7,000. We are over 6,000. And their budget proposal recently was $171.1 million. And our proposal is 117. We're working really hard to be as frugal as we can with our community's dollars. Bangor is a comparison. They have 2,600 less students than ours, so it's hard to go number for number. But their budget last year, I believe, was $63.2 million. We're really working hard to focus on a few things. So the image you see here, this is of an actual Lewiston student climbing a wall. But this is connected to our CLIMB program, which is a special education program for high needs students that large in part are living with autism or have learning and or physical disabilities. We started this program with our younger kids, and these are all students that would otherwise be tuitioned out to other places, which would include transportation costs, main care seed reimbursement, services that we would have to be paying for reimbursement for, and other items. As of recently, they were serving over 20 students there, and we've estimated that that's saving us somewhere around $2 million a year in costs that would otherwise have to go out. And as we're starting the students that are young and coming in, we continue to grow the capacity of that program. Space is an ongoing conversation, which I'll mention a little more about here soon. But we're proud of the CLIMB program. The staff over there have done a great job. And students are able to get up in the morning, go to school in their community with their peers where they belong, and have great days of school and go home. And in turn, it also saves us on tax dollars here locally. Seniors are fast approaching graduation. When we first put out this newsletter, it was a few weeks back, so it had more of a sense of feel to it that it was building up. We're very much living the seniors right now. But we've had kids that we've shared in spotlight videos that have gone out. I'm not sure how many we've shared so far, but we have more students who want to share their story. But we're sharing these spotlight videos as part of their journey. And I think sometimes people wonder about graduation rate and other details. And I think it's important that we tell the whole story of some of the things that are going on in our schools. But we have students going to some of the finest post-secondary institutions in the country. and some of them are going for nothing. And one of the stories that we shared is a student who's going to Johns Hopkins for free for 4 years, and she got a $55,000 scholarship that she can just use for herself. So she's getting paid $55,000 to go to Johns Hopkins for free. And she's a brilliant young woman, and her story is quite amazing. I encourage you to go to our website, check out those links if you didn't already get them as parents. But schools that kids are not just getting accepted to, but some of them are turning down include Harvard, Yale, Brown, BU, UNH, URI, Johns Hopkins, Clemson, UMass, USM, UNE, Bates, Bowdoin, Suffolk, Merrimack. The list goes really on and on. Our students are doing quite well and going off to school, and they have great stories. We also have a number of students who are pursuing some pretty unique endeavors, like one who was going to school for psych, who wants to become a judge. So she's doing psych on a pre-law pathway, and she wants to be a judge, and she's done a lot of things to position herself for that work, and I believe she'll do it. We have numerous Division I athletes going off to college, and people that are involved in more than just academics. So we're very excited for them. The third highlight I share here goes back to me talking a little bit about space. This is just a chart that shows some of our recent growth over the years in enrollments. And we are now over 6,000 students. I think I last looked about a week ago, it was 6,070, and I know that that's gone up since then. We also just passed, is it 2,000 multilingual students? As of last week, we had 4 new enrollments and we were 3 shy. So we're very proud of our robust multilingual programming and the efforts of working with our families. But we are growing and our buildings are not. And so we are faced with the challenges of space. About a year ago, Lewiston Public Schools acquired 287 Main Street, which is a building that needs to be rehabilitated for use. And we hope to have some passage of things, including the budget and LCIP, so that we can start concept and design work for that building space to allow for some expansion based on enrollments. And last I checked, and I'm kind of looking to my right because the mayor's here, but I think there's something in the neighborhood of 500 to 700 new living units that are coming online in the next 2 or 3 years, at least anticipated from proposals and permitting process that's underway. If some of those apartments house students, we will have significantly more students. So we're trying to stay ahead of the curve on that. That's the gist of the newsletter with the highlights for now. I'm happy to entertain any questions anyone may have. And really an open book about schools in general, and the budget. And again, please set your alarms, make a plan, go vote tomorrow if you're a Lewiston resident. Does anyone have any questions? Yes.
So, what feedback have you heard from staff about this budget?
So we've been really trying to have our ears to the ground and listen with a lot of opportunities for input and Q&A this spring. But the feedback from staff is they feel good about staying whole from a staffing perspective. There's a lot of there's a sense of turbulence, I would say, from a federal perspective, and we do have some positions that are federally funded. This particular budget would allow us to maintain all of our efforts, which I think everyone wants to do. And the reduction in the amount of supplies, I think is something that we can weather and withstand. So the feedback from staff has been very supportive of the budget that is not going to hit the pocket too hard, but also maintains the work that we're trying to do.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any others? Team, anything else you think I should include or share? I know we've done a lot of this for the last several months here, but okay. Well, I will hang around at the end if anybody wants to ask a off camera or off mic question. And other than that, thank you for coming and go vote. I can't tell you how to vote. That'd be out of line, but I'm going to ask you to please go vote so at least know what the community would like to have. All right. Thank you very much for your time and hope you have a great evening.